Oh, that was a nice peak. You say it was a very peaky peak. Okay, I'll see myself out. I had no choice. But on that bombshell, hello and welcome. Today we will be not covering a single, so I guess a little bit different, but
a little bit
sort of the same. But we'll be covering, as I say, rondos, but we've already done that. We'll be covering Peaky P-Key's mini EP / mini album. Well, actually, it's not mini EP, it's EP / mini album.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep referring to it as mini EP.
Yeah.
Because isn't that a single?
Essentially, yeah.
Do or Die.
Do or Die.
Actually, there's not a song with that name, but I think that would be a pretty banger song if it was by Peaky P-Key.
Yeah.
Although I think Full of Artemis, it may also work, but I'm also thinking that it'd be similar to Do the Dive.
Oh, okay. Right.
Which there's like different versions of that, so that's a bloody nightmare. You got like the version by Leaning Size, and you got the Call of Artemis version, and you got one which is done by a different artist and that. So it's like very messy.
Yeah.
But I guess we will start off by covering the first two, I guess, original songs.
Yep.
Which is One's Believing and Let's Do It. Which, we're not doing it yet, but that's the name of the song. You can tell it's the end of the day. I'm a bit more jovial.
Oh, yeah.
God, I feel old now because who uses that word anymore? Well, I guess we should get started with One's Believing. Man, that goes really hard right out the gate.
Yeah.
But it bloody slaps though.
Yeah. I was finding it hard to find a place to pause because there's just so many different twists and turns happening.
This would be perfect to put on in the club when everything is really hyped up.
Oh yeah. You are not wrong there. Yeah, this is an absolute just rip snorter club track that it has all of the perfect elements that you sort of want, and it doesn't. It lets up, but it doesn't let up too much.
It only lets up a little bit.
Yeah, and it does a really, really good job of giving you some really, really heavy hitting sections that are all different but still connected. That none of them kind of feel out of place, which sometimes you get that in other Peaky songs where each of the little section connecting parts work very well.
Although I have to say, I don't think I've listened to this song that much, which is weird because I'm a big fan of Peaky, but I don't know why I don't listen to it that often. It's pretty good.
So we get also a really good range of sounds again.
Definitely.
Yeah. Even though there is quite a lot going on, it's still a pretty well-balanced mix, which is exactly what you need. Again, for this sort of song, the tempo, the way that it really punches through, you get a lot of sounds which are really filling out the space. They're doing a really good job of not sort of stepping on each other's toes, and you
Which
still
I
hear,
guess is a bit of a hard thing, well, not to do.
yeah, particularly in this style of music. And then, you got the vocals as well. Just
Again, even though they're sort of drowned out a bit, they still do a solid job.
a little bit, yeah, I would say. And some of those bigger energy sections, they do get a bit drowned out, or sort of just like sort of soak into the other synth sounds. But yeah, still do a really good job when you can hear them.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, well, I guess with that all being said, let's get back to it.
I would say that was probably maybe one of the most impressive verse twos that I've heard from Peaky P-Key. They really sort of brought the energy down, but again, just sort of like their choice of sounds and the way that they play with dynamics. There was those bits where like everything's really cool and calm and atmospheric, and then you get this sort of big influx.
Bang.
Yeah. Sort of like wall of sound, and then that sort of like dissipates, and then you go back to that sort of more calmer array of sounds, which was really cool. I like that. It changed things up.
I don't really have much to comment about this section because I was a bit distracted just seeing why haven't I have listened to this as much as I normally listen to a Peaky song, and then I realised it's not on my usual playlist that I use. So
Right.
So that's
sense.
why.
Yeah.
I was going to add it, but now I was like, I'll do that afterwards.
Okay. Yep.
It was like, why the hell did I not add this? There must have been some reason.
All right. Back to it.
And there we go. That's One's Believing, which is absolutely solid.
It is a very solid track, I will say. It's pretty cool. After that second verse, you get this really long build up, and there's multiple times throughout where it feels like it's going to finally pay off, and then it doesn't, and then some other funny sound comes in and sort of takes over and starts building up, and then again you think the drop's going to happen, but then it doesn't. And it's sort of like this evolving section of build up with different sounds popping in and out. But once it does get to that point, it really pays off quite well.
Well, I don't think I could say it any better myself, but actually speaking one of those weird sounds, there was a sound that kind of had a similar sound to a lot of parts of songs in the FTL soundtrack.
Yeah.
I say soundtrack, but OST, which
Yeah.
still a soundtrack, but it's not the official soundtrack.
Yeah.
Actually, I think someone did like a remix of one of the songs from the official soundtrack. I only discovered it because someone used it in a video and I was like, that sounds like that's from FTL.
Oh, okay.
Like, it was
Interesting.
like, but it then was like at the same time, that doesn't, it sounds like it's from FTL, but it also is completely different to what something from FTL sounds like.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, kind of like a different, it's like someone doing like kind of, I wouldn't say a remix, but their own version of that track.
Oh, okay.
And it just felt awesome to hit the nostalgia where they kind of had a section that sounded a lot like the original. And that's when I realized, like, at that point, I was like, oh, yeah, that's from FTL.
Yeah, right.
Before it's like, that sounds like it's from FTL. And I wasn't quite sure. But then that bit hit and I was like, yeah, that's from FTL. And then I realized, oh, no, that's not from FTL because nothing from the soundtrack sounds like that.
Right. Interesting.
We may actually cover that in the future as its like own thing.
Yeah,
Maybe.
possibly.
Because I find it interesting.
Yeah, but I would agree. There are some of those, FTL-esque type sounds that they've gone with. You know, we have a really solid chorus as well, finishing us off, and then in familiar Peaky fashion, we get a really nice outro that again sort of draws the song out a bit at the end there, but throws a few.
At least it goes out on a banger.
Yeah, it definitely does. It throws a few new sounds or sounds like we've heard, but using them in a different way than what we'd heard them previously in early in the song. But it does a really nice job of finishing this one off and sort of after the big sort of big energy final chorus, it sort of brings things down in a really nice fashion.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with you that much.
Yeah.
There's nothing really else I can add to it. So all I can say, it's a good song. You got to listen to it.
Fair enough.
But we're going to move on to the second song.
Yep.
Or second original song that's on here. Let's Do It, which is one I actually kind of enjoy. So this is going to be a good time. There we go. I was waiting for you. I was like, I knew the perfect moment where you're going to pause. Yeah, I should have put $5 on it.
So we get another just big club track, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We don't really get, I guess, the same amount of
Oomph.
But I was going to say sort of like variation to what we get in the singles. You know, so we mentioned previously in other reviews or reacts where, sort of like the A side is always pretty big, sort of familiar sounding, and then the B side they
It's a
do
bit
something
more, experimental.
yeah, where we definitely don't get that as strongly here. That so far they've been two really just big Peaky tracks.
Well, this is what Peaky P-Key does best.
Yeah,
So
sort
why
of.
not?
Yeah,
If you're going to do an EP, you might as well come out in force.
I think so too. And I think, I don't think I've actually listened to the remixes before. So maybe the thought process is let's just, release two really big Peaky tracks, and then maybe the remixes will be able to add that sort of variation or sort of mix of something different.
Okay.
But yeah, we get another, great
opening.
Yeah, great opening, a great array of sounds.
Although I just want to note that it sounds like the lyrics at the start sounds very similar to the chorus. So I was thinking, did they kind of start off with sort of like a chorus?
Yeah, I think so. They there was there's that sort of thing of having, like, for lack of a better term, like a soft chorus opening, and then once they get to the actual chorus, that's where you get that big full
bore, I guess.
Yeah, full ball produced chorus, bringing all the big energy with it. And it does a really good job of doing what you just do really well, which is
Being real peaky.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised it took me this long to start cracking out the peaky jokes. Let's continue, shall we? There we go. This song slaps. Absolutely slaps. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah, we don't. I guess we get something which really doesn't let up. This is just a pretty consistent song. It just sort of as soon as it kicks in, it kind of just runs away.
Kind of like what a rabid dog, once it bites it just won't let go.
Yeah, I guess.
Which feels like it's sort of a negative, but it's really a compliment.
in this instance for sure. But it's just a big track that doesn't let up. I don't think I noticed it in the previous chorus, so maybe there might be a bit of a different change in the chorus that just happened. But I like the way where you get the backing vocals coming in, really popping out on the "Do It" lyrics. In between sort of like the main vocals, which
that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring this up because I was going to wait for you to bring it up, but yeah, that just gives it a nice little, what's the word I'm looking for? A nice little pop to it.
Yeah, it definitely does. I definitely agree. It just adds something different and adds that little pop or that little peak.
Oh no, you're doing it. You're putting me out of a job here.
But yeah, I really like the way that they've used the backing vocals in this one, and the harmonies are really nice within the chorus.
I guess we shall finish it off then. go. That was Let's Do It by Peaky P-Key. I just had to do it that way, so God help me.
Fair enough. So
Well, I guess we'll get your final thoughts. I was going to jump straight to how does it compare to One's Believing, but we'll do that after your final thoughts.
Sure. So yeah, final thoughts. We get that cool little bridge section.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, that I like the way that, like, again, the drums just don't let up, but everything else kind of
dies down,
and you have all those like fun little synth sounds, lots of different stuff happening, lots of variety of sounds, which is really cool. And then just builds back up to that really big chorus. And again, we get that sort of like stretched out outro, which Peaky are pretty known for. So it's pretty typical. But then I guess the way that it actually finishes off after that sort of outro section was a bit different. It's sort of like, rather than it kind of just going through the motions and ending on like a pretty typical chord that you're sort of expecting, there's this really cool little rhythmic change that picks things up, and then get that last hit that happens to finish things off pretty well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, so I'm not sure really I can add on to it, but all I can say is it's really damn good. That's about all I can add to it.
Yeah. So yeah, comparing it to One's Believing, that's tough because they're I guess sort of like the energy and the mood and everything.
Is it like a little different?
I would say like they're pretty similar.
Okay, yeah, I was just trying to help you out there, but I was a bit off the mark.
But it's I guess it's the approach that they each take is where things are different.
Kind of, yeah, differentiate.
Yeah. I kind of felt maybe the vocals were a bit more focused in One's Believing, where I feel like the track is really what pushes Let's Do It along.
Okay. Bit of an interesting take.
Yeah. But then definitely like the vocals for the chorus for Let's Do It are really big and really really key to that chorus.
I was going to say bombastic, but I don't think it's quite bombastic.
Not quite. I wouldn't say it's bombastic, but someone might. Yeah, it's I guess, as I sort of mentioned before, like comparing it to when they do a single release, there really isn't as much change or variety between the first two. They're pretty just big club tracks that would fit in well at any sort of like EDM festival.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, very easily.
Like I was kind of thinking even though I was going to pick up DJing, but then money got tight, so I wasn't able to get the equipment. And I was thinking, I think there's some songs, some default DJ that would work. And then this came along and I was like, okay, these two definitely would work.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if like once things are really going to really set the mood.
Yeah, definitely. These could work pretty well. Yeah, so comparing the original songs to what we've listened to so far with the single releases, I think we do get something which is pretty different.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'd say different, but also familiar.
Yeah, it's not so different that we're sort of umming and ahhing if this is Peaky P-Key, but I think just in like the approach of the release itself, it feels different. It feels like less of let us show you our potential and more of here we are. Like this is our sound. This is what we're good at. And we're going to give you two really good songs that show that.
We're like the top dogs.
Yeah. At least of
the other units. And that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they would stack up against other units and that in real life, but
yeah,
you'd probably have a bit more experience with that.
Yeah. I think
they are quite strong contenders, but
for sure. Yeah. I think they would definitely stack up pretty well. At least these two songs Absolutely. I think you could easily throw them in a DJ set along with, you know, other big dubstep producers, Skrillex.
I'd say that's like the first thing that came to my head was Skrillex.
Yeah, Knife Party.
Not sure if I listened to any of Knife Party stuff.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good. I do like a bunch of their songs. I'm not sure if they're still around, but they were definitely big during their sort of dubstep heyday.
Actually, isn't I think Skrillex is still around.
Yeah. He just released a new song, I think this week.
Okay. The more you know, I might have to go check it out. Although I find some of his songs a bit hit or miss.
Yeah. He released I think a double album last year, and one of them was pretty good, and the other was a bit I wasn't too impressed, but
although for me, I'm a bit finicky with dubstep. Says that, but really likes Peaky P-Key, which is basically just dubstep with a bit of EDM thrown in.
Yeah, it's definitely a take on dubstep for sure.
Although I guess it's just I guess it's just the balance of it, I guess, is what I really like.
For sure.
I do like those sections where it does go all out, but I'm not the sort of person that likes it flat out all the time. So
yeah, and I think a lot of people that don't like dubstep would agree with you, and probably would like a lot of Peaky P-Key songs for that point. The fact that it isn't just huge the entire time. And I think something that you get a lot with dubstep is just like certain phrases, particularly with Skrillex songs, where like he'll just grab a phrase that is ear catching and works, and it sounds great, the first 3 or 5 times that you listen to it, but as soon as you get, to the 20th time, you're sort of like overhearing the same thing over and over again. Whereas like with this, you get that really good mix of like just a traditional EDM pop song mixed with those big dubstep elements that gives you that really cool mix, which is nice.
Actually, this is something I'm surprised I haven't brought up, but I have a feeling what EDM is, but I'm not quite sure if I'm right. What is it?
Well, it's a broad genre. It's kind of like saying what is rock or what is pop, for that matter. I mean, pop's a whole different thing. But yeah, EDM essentially, I mean, if you go back to early days, it's basically anything that uses like an electronic instrument for the majority of the song.
Although it's more like what EDM stands for.
Electronic dance music.
Okay.
So,
which is weird because I was thinking European dance music, but along the lines of Eurobeat, which is kind of evolved from like a blend of like Italian dance music and European dance music.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of like where, you have electronic music, which started sort of in the 60s, basically. But then, you add that dance music element, and that's where sort of like the big beat comes in, and your choruses and things like that, which, so electronic basically just meaning like synthesizers are being used, and then the dance music side means that, it really has to sort of generally
like a rhythm or beat to it.
Yeah, has to have a good beat to it that you can dance to, and has to have those sort of catchy elements of like a catchy melody, and whether that's on the synth or vocals or a combination of both.
Well, I guess that kind of sums it up for part 1, but then
we're
going to be covering, we're going to be covering the remixes in part 2. This is kind of where the EP kind of falls off a cliff for me, if I remember correctly.
Fair enough.
Let's see how bad it is in part 2. So I guess come back next time to watch Briggsy suffer.
Absolutely.
And well, if you do enjoy this content, definitely leave a like and subscribe, as well as comment down below whether you like this or not, or which one you prefer, One's Believing or Let's Do It, or if you don't like a certain song, why? And if you do like it, why? And well, share it with your friends, family, pet rock, your pets, and your neighbours. And I guess anyone else you can share it to. If You have to share it to your local members at your local church.
That would definitely help, for sure. The more eyes, the better.
That's all I can say about that.
Cool. Thanks for joining us for this one.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, and hopefully see you next time, where I may die a little on the inside.
In part 2 of Do or Die by Peaky P-Key.
I think there's going to be a lot of dying on the inside in part 2. Or maybe not. I could just be misremembering how bad the remixes are.
I guess we'll see.
Well, for you, you're going to have to find out next time.
See you then.